happy to introduce now Glen Walushka. He is the BC coordinator for the People's Party of Canada. He has graciously given up his role at the North Okanagan Shoe Swap, is that right?
I was the president, now I'm a director at large and the director of communications, that's right.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And we have a lot to thank because our administration has been streamlined ever since Glen has taken that role. And so Glen, he does have a very rich political history going back to the 1970s. And he was working with the Minister of Youth for the Social Credit Party of Canada, the Social Credit Party of Alberta, Bob Clark, and as well for his own economics professor, Paul Jensen. And again, yeah, we're very happy to have you, Glen, and if you would like to go ahead and give your introduction.
Thank you very much. Now, if that wasn't a pre-election, pre-nomination candidate speech, I don't think I've heard one. And there was more. What I'd like to do, first of all, is introduce myself. I am Glen Walushka, the regional coordinator for BC. I've been in the role for about the last 3-4 weeks now. The whole purpose of what we're doing is very much like a journey, is the way I like to describe it. And what happened was back in August of 2018, Maxime Bernier started a revolution here in Canada. The revolution relates to bringing back a sovereignist kind of perspective to Canadian government. And very shortly after the party was formed, of course, we've seen a tremendous journey commence, and we're going to just walk through a little bit of what that journey looks like. But one of the things that I wanted to do was just ask, are there any Canadians in the room? Hands up. Okay. One of the things that we like to do as Canadians, is kind of celebrate the fact that we're Canadians. What I'd really like to see is maybe we start off this meeting by singing our national anthem. So Derek, would you like to maybe lead us in our national anthem? And hopefully going forward, we'll do this more and more and really get into the spirit. Thanks very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Derek Smith, and I'm with the Cloverdale-Langley City EA. So, without too much ado, oh Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton frontière demeure sans hiver, car ton bras s'est porté ses rives, et un très monstre garde froid, transparent the épopée, we stand on guard for gloire. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Now, how can you tell that guy came from McGill? And the next time he does that, without letting us know that he's going to do that, we're going to have a little talk. All right, so let's get back to the journey. The journey started, and like all journeys, you start off and you think you're going in a particular direction, and sometimes the path that you're going down maybe gets a little bit bumpy and rocky, and sometimes it smooths out, and sometimes you may take a slight wrong turn and you wind up getting back onto the path again. But that's all part of the journey. We're a new political party. We're a political party coming out of the ground with the ethics, with the idea that we're going to return responsible government, accountable government back to Canada. And I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time talking about that, but the process that we have is Max has started the revolution. What I'm saying is the group that I'm now part of with HQ. I sit on the national task force to make us elections ready. We have 6 individuals from 6 different provinces in Canada, or groups of provinces in Canada, that work with about 5 people in HQ to try to get us elections ready. So I represent British Columbia in that process. We've got a lot of things that we've done. We'll talk about more about what we've done with some of the EDA execs after the meeting. How many people are actually members and how many are just members of the public? How many are members? How many people are here as members of the public just trying to find out what the People's Party of Canada is all about? Hands raised. Have it out there. So thank you very much for coming. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of a quick insight into how we got to where we are today. Then I'll talk very briefly about a couple of things that we're in the process of doing. We will spend most of our time talking about that to the execs after the meeting's over. So at the start of the party, August 23rd, 2018, based on his own personal values and principles, Maxime Bernier quits the CPC. A lot of us in the room may have been CPC members, we may have been CPC board members. We were very strong supporters of Maxime Bernier, and my degree's in economics. I was a corporate banker, so I very much believe in laissez-faire economics. I believe very much in the free market. And Maxime Bernier is the only leader in Canada that represents those values. And this is what happened to the CPC shortly afterwards. Mayday, Mayday, we seem to have lost our right wing. And of course what happened was Maxime Bernier had 49% of the vote at the leadership convention that was held, and very much represented the people who are more on the libertarian side of things and more on the free market side of things. So as soon as he wound up announcing that he was forming a new party, Andrew Scheer had my 2-page resignation letter. I have a lot to tell him. And we actually have it sitting on a website called rightdecision.ca. If you want to go back to the very beginning, the very first article we ever posted was a 2-page resignation letter that I sent to the CPC and Andrew Scheer. And to this day, I continue to get requests for donations and requests to participate in the process of electing my CPC candidate in North Okanagan Shuswap, and that's just not going to happen. September 24th, Maxime Bernier announces the name of the new party, and you can see we were using a slightly different logo back then because we don't waste money on silly things like, hiring national advertising companies to brand us. We're going to do all these kinds of things ourselves because we have a lot of talented people in this room. And these talented people are going to accomplish some very, very important things for this party. We actually held a meeting 2 days after the party was named. I'm just going to fill you in here. And we didn't know the name of the party when we put the ads in the newspaper. So we just said this is going to be Maxime Bernier's new political party. And luckily, the Friday before our Monday meeting, he actually gave it a name, and we had something to talk about when we talked to the newspapers. They said it was impossible. On October the 10th, 2018, less than 2 short months after he announced that he was going to form a new political party, the party was registered officially with Elections Canada. However, we did not become an official party because of Elections Canada rules for a little bit longer than that. November 8th, and those of us that came down and those of us that were here attended a first rally that was held in Vancouver to a much larger than anticipated crowd. We actually stayed in the hotel, and these things are usually a little late getting off the ground. So as a result, we kind of hung around about 10, 15 minutes, to go. It shouldn't be a problem. We got down off the elevator and we barely could get into the room because it was so crowded, the lobby, that we couldn't even find our way to the anywhere close to the podium, to the front of the room. So we sat at the back and watched the whole thing and really, really enjoyed it. The venue was too small for all the support that he was receiving. Subsequent rallies in Calgary and Winnipeg were also met with the same enthusiasm and support. And of course, he's been going across the country ever since. And the same kind of crowds are showing up. So thank you all for being very strong supporters no matter where you're at in Canada. After a mere 10 weeks, the membership reached 33,500. I'll back up to October 31st because that's the date at which the founding members were all considered founding members. And instead of spending money that we didn't have to give you a lovely certificate that you could frame, we just created a PDF document so you can frame your own, and you can have one in every room in the house if you feel like it. December 31st, 2018, we declared to the world that we had 338 EDAs created all across Canada. Why is that number important? The number is important because we will not be able to participate as a new political party in national debates. Maxime Bernier will not be able to participate in national debates unless we have 90% of the ridings with candidates contesting the election in 2019. So we need, of the 338 ridings, we're going to need 306 candidates officially recognized by Elections Canada in order for us to participate. What are we? We are the fastest growing political party in Canadian history. Join the movement, Canada Strong and Free. I see that we've already got, the hook coming, so we'll speed it up here. January 8, 2019, we officially became a party as Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson, who's supposed to be here this afternoon.
She's coming.
And she's coming, was announced as the first candidate for the PPC, running in the Burnaby South by-election, giving us full official status. And this morning, we have the pleasure of being able to announce, for those who didn't know, that we are going to have the fourth official candidate in the by-election coming up in Nanaimo Ladies' Night. So we've got two of the first four candidates that ever ran. Four basic principles. This is the most important thing about this party. Responsibility to respect hardworking Canadian taxpayers by giving them back some of their money, freedoms. Let's start off with freedoms. To free our economy from the burden of heavy taxation to enable faster growth. That's what it says on the PPC page, but I read it differently. When I see freedom, what that means to me is your personal freedoms. That's your freedom of expression. That's your freedom of assembly. That's your freedom of religion. That's your freedom of speech. That's the kind of freedom that I think brought a lot of people to this party. Responsibility, and we're talking personal responsibility. Here again, it's almost like this was written by Martin Massey, the businessman. To respect hardworking Canadian taxpayers by giving them back some of their money, that's really, really important. But I think what we also need to talk about is the personal responsibility that if we're going to take money back from the government, if we're going to lower tax rates, what I want is the personal responsibility to manage my own affairs, my own family, my own business, my own opportunities. I don't want a nanny state doing that for me. Fairness, to stop using our tax system for political ends and make it simpler and more fair for all. And again, fairness is a different kind of thing to me as well in some respects, because I see fairness as being universal justice. I see somebody going to a court system and being treated the same whether I have been born in this country or whether I've been born in a different country, whether I'm 75 years old or whether I'm 15 years old. I think there has to be equal justice under the law, and that's what kind of fairness I believe we should be looking at in the party as well as what they say on the board. Respect, and I think respect for everybody's point of view, respect for free speech, respect for each other, respect for the principles that founded this country, respect for the sovereignty of this country, and respect for each other is really what's going to make us work. And I think if we can get Canadians to understand that we respect Canadian values, that we respect the ability of Canadians to work and act responsibly. If you're managing your own affairs, we're doing something that's going to be pretty powerful.
Very well said, thank you.
And we're going to skip all the financial stuff because we don't care about that. So somebody wants us, this is just, we have a few little fun memes. We have a guy by the name of Justin Trudeau that apparently is the Prime Minister. And his sole function is to blame Harper for anything that's happened since 2015. We have another guy by the name of Andrew Scheer, who is running for the CPC, the other LibCons, and he's very fond of blaming Maxime Bernier for everything that happens. Maxime Bernier, I don't play the blame game. I'm too busy working on the issues that affect everyday Canadians. That's our problem. So we're going to skip all of this, and away we go.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Wasn't that great? Can have a little idea of what the People's Party of Canada means after that wonderfully well-worded introduction to our party values.